Right, apparently I forgot I already talked to everyone in the Pokemon Center in the previous recording session, though it's annoyingly easy to fall asleep partway through a recording session around here anyway, so, not that much of a problem that I forgot. That seems to be the guy's only defining trait. Excuse me for thinking that a character should have more going for them than the false teeth we're supposed to find in order for him to give us an item we're going to need in order to move on. Granted, strength is not quite as critical as Surf, but it's still something we absolutely need in order to get to both Cinnabar Island and the Indigo Plateau at the end. As a side note, it's rather hard to give a damn about meeting Bill's family since Bill himself means so little in this game. Sure, he's a reason we can store more than 6 Pokemon, and that's useful, especially if you're actually trying to fill the Pokedex, but as a whole, that's essentially background stuff that has some impact on the main game. Bill just doesn't have all that much going for him in any way to be memorable, which is a shame, since I'm sure he should have gotten around as much respect as Professor Oak in the series as a whole. The image of an oversized Pokeball that frankly shouldn't be able to fool anyone into thinking it's an item. And to make matters even more annoying, it's not even like this game they serve as essentially mimics in the overworld outside of maybe one location in the entire first generation. I've gone entire playthroughs without running into that particular surprise in the game. While I'm at it, it's a bit annoying that the signs in this zoo don't give you much information unless you've already gotten that information in your Pokedex by capturing said Pokemon at some point earlier. I get that it's to prevent people from thinking they filled a Pokedex entry without actually having to capture that Pokemon, but still, a bit annoying. Come to think of it, the zoo part of this place feels oddly restricting and possibly considered cruel to Pokemon, considering how they're generally treated in this world. Again, this is the absolute first game in the franchise. They're allowed to make some mistakes like that when they haven't fully gotten a feel for the world they've created just yet. Still felt like something worth mentioning there, though. You resurrected this thing from millions of years of death, and the first thing you do is shove it into a bloody zoo? Ugh. Probably another thing I need to file under do not think about all that much. Otherwise I'm gonna start worrying this world is gonna have a Jurassic Park situation. Well, capturing Pokemon in the safari is something I rarely if ever actually managed to pull off. It's not that it's especially bad, just that... I'm just way too used to being able to soften a Pokemon up before trying to capture it, and that's not an option in there. On one hand, that helps make those Pokemon feel pretty damn rare. On the other, it makes the Pokemon in it feel like more effort than they're worth to me, especially since now I'm generally pretty satisfied with my lineup and just working on strengthening them with leveling up, TMs, and HMs. As a side note, really like the fact that one of the people in the store implied there's more on sale than we can actually see when we go to the clerk. It's a very minor thing, but I'm the kind of guy who appreciates minor details. One of the many reasons I'm trying to fight temptation to just take another break from the first generation Pokemon to do another Metroid game or 3. Probably one of the only times I'm gonna save without being in a Pokemon Center. Sorry, but we're not really here for the Pokemon, though I wouldn't mind if I'm lucky enough to catch something like a Scyther or a Rhydon. Nice advice, but I struggle to get so much as one Pokemon that I wouldn't be able to capture anywhere else. Sorry, but we're here to hunt for your boss's teeth and the Survey Gem. By the way, what's to stop someone from just finding the Warden's dentures and selling them to a pawn shop? Sure, it's not actually an option for the player character, but still, you'd think these people would have done more to make sure their boss gets his teeth back. If anything, they seem to be mostly ignoring that the issue even exists and are acting like it's no different from any other day at the office. For those curious, the moments when the background music stops here, while we're in the middle of the Safari Zone, are due to me quickly double-checking an internet guide so I don't do too much aimless wandering before grabbing what we need to from this place. Our time here isn't really measured by the actual amount of time, but by how many steps we've taken. So aimless wandering to figure out where to go next is just gonna drain a valuable unseen resource. I wouldn't say this is downright frustrating to have to deal with in order to get this particular objective accomplished. Just annoying, given how we generally don't need a walkthrough to figure out where to go and how to get there for any other part of the game, as far as I can remember. And it's only an annoyance due to the step limitation. Yeah, when your only options are to throw bait, throw a rock, throw a Pokeball, or run, capturing a Pokemon becomes very much annoying, especially since Pokemon, like a Tauros, would be tough to catch even without that annoying gimmick. Well, of course we are if it's this far back. May I suggest altering the gimmicks around here a bit to make things less annoying for the people who come here? Granted, you don't want people to just poach all the wild Pokemon in the area, but still, you've made things so limiting that you've essentially made this person not very likely to come back for a return trip, which means one less source of income for you. Well, at least when we go to the menus, we can see how many steps we have left. That's something. I would have liked to have seen that counter outside of the menu, since it's so critical when we're in the Safari Zone, but I suppose it's not all that big of an issue, since we just grabbed both the things we strictly needed, and we can just leave without ever coming back. You literally put the sign mentioning that problem just yards away from where the teeth were. Seriously, I get the feeling that most of the signs in this game are just completely useless. I think we already have a Venonat that would evolve into a Moth, but I might be misremembering. Not that the bloody thing stuck around long enough for us to try capturing there anyway. I could have sworn that throwing bait was how you prevented some of these guys from running away. Ah well, we've grabbed all we needed to, even if we didn't manage to catch a single Pokemon in there. That's gotta be worth something. Right, so apparently cutting the other tree is the only way to that building from here. Some odd design decisions in this town, but I suppose it looks pretty unique compared to the other towns we've been to in the game so far, so... they gain some points for, well, just being unique, if not making sense. I assume one of those fossils was used to give the zoo one more attraction. Well, Slowpoke has psychic powers, so I'd be careful of insulting your boss like that. Yes, a problem called not having his bloody dentures. I know, this little side bit with the warden and his employees is supposed to be funny, and probably was to me when I was a kid. Unfortunately, I've been in one or two work environments like that in my adult life, and it doesn't take long for people to stop laughing. I'm just gonna leave it at that, and just move on. Hello there, nameless guru. Well, it's certainly easy to get fishing rods around here. It's not the best one, but at least we can catch more than a Magikarp if we wanted to. Kind of tempted to fish in the small lake behind the guy's home, but I'm pretty sure we should just let him use that particular space. Again? Golden teeth. If a rocket had found them, then there's no way they wouldn't have been in a frickin' pawn shop by now. Of course, now I can't help thinking he should have done something to clean them, since they were just laying around in a random section of ground in the Safari Zone. Excuse me, but I'd rather make absolutely sure I didn't end up shoving something that used to be sitting on literal bullshit, if that was in any way a risk. Yeah, seriously. A little hygiene there, sir. It was us going for that HM that led to us getting your teeth back. Not sure what Pokemon merchandise could be any older than Pokemon Red. I think it's better to give this to Marbleback than Takanabori. Not that I'm against giving a single Pokemon multiple HM moves, just that I've got something against outright using HM slaves, like a Krabby or Sentret, since all too often, they're only there for the sake of using those HMs, not because they're there to do any fighting themselves. Not sure why a strong Pokemon needs the ability called Strength in order to push around rocks. Feels like another arbitrary limit, but at least it's not as bad as the whole Flute Snorlax thing from earlier. But then a lot of games I can think of off the top of my head would have to really lower their standards to give you something quite so arbitrary with some of the other rules in the game. Especially the rule that outright says that a Snorlax can fall asleep in the middle of a battle as part of his healing, and we can keep attacking it while it's asleep. Right, time for some item management before we hit the gym. We've already assigned Surf and Strength to 2 members of our team, so no need to have those taking up space in the bag. Come to think of it, I probably should have fast-forwarded through the item management here, but then we still have to stop once we're done with this bit of raw footage, since the next bit of raw footage would have more than 15 minutes to it, and there's no way I'd be able to fast-forward enough to keep it from getting over half an hour long here. And this clip is already kind of a healthy length here. We'll sell the rare candy later. Anyway, time to start hitting the gym. On second thought, let's sell the rare candy now before hitting the gym. Does anyone else sell their rare candies, or am I alone in doing that? Literally the only store in the game that you have to chop down a tree in order to reach. It's like they don't expect people to actually come to this store when the Safari Zone provides Pokeballs to capture creatures in the unique environment in there. Or at least as unique as this game can pull off. And again, I can't help feeling a bit annoyed at the layout of this town, even if it's the only one set up in such an annoying way. At least in this game. Well, not quite so invisible since our Game Boy emulator has color to it. You have to strain your eyes a bit to see the little pink lines that cut off the white ones in this sea of pink and white, but it's still noticeable enough. I'm afraid strength is still pretty critical, even if it's not the only thing you need to win. Besides, in its own way, brute strength can be a strategy of its own. Just ask the Orcs of Warhammer, they'd certainly be eager to show you. Oh dear! Was not expecting a psychic type as the first Pokemon we face in the bloody Poison Gym. Especially not one that damn strong. I somehow get the feeling this is going to be the only trainer we go up against in this clip. Huh. No psychic moves? Sure, he's still doing an impressive amount of damage, but still. And there we go. Whoa, that was far too close for comfort. And that wasn't even the damn gym leader. Just how much worse is Koga gonna be when we get to him? Well, I certainly try to, though admittedly sometimes it feels like I just turn my brain off and get complacent, using what generally works over and over again, until it suddenly doesn't. Still, it looks like this gym is certainly going to be a pain in the ass for me to get to the leader in. Not as much of a pain in the ass as Cinnabar will be for us, but still.